So once you've determined that you want to have a website, the next step, if you don't already have a domain name picked out, is to go and get a domain name. Now I like using domain.com. Of course, you can register your domain name anywhere and any domain registrar. So there's tons of them out there, and usually it's best to go with whatever web hosting plan you're using to register the domain name there. But the reason I go to domain.com is because it's got this really neat tool where it's got domain ideas. Because more than likely, if you're picking out a domain name, your domain name is, especially if you're looking for something short with some good wording in it, it's more than likely already going to be taken. And you can see here that they do have domains that are for sale, so they have roughly the right about the price that they're asking for. So test with me, I just put in testme.com, and of course that was taken. So they did provide some other test me domains that are available with different domain extensions other than .com, but more than likely if you are setting up a domain name you want to use .com. So here we've got a bunch of domain ideas as well as other ones that you could purchase. So if you want to purchase testwithme.com, this is the price that they're asking for it. So you can also go down here, and these are all domains that are currently available. So as you can see, again, there's not a lot of .coms available. So they're suggesting ones that are slightly off, like .nets, .orgs. And again, you could go through these and to get more ideas in order to register your domain name. Important thing is when you're picking a domain name that it's something that's easy to remember. Maybe try to keep it as short as possible, something that's not too complicated and that it's not hard for people to remember, because you do want to be able to just say your domain name and also avoid lettering, like if you've got test the event. So you don't want to have these kind of double letters either, because that also leads to confusion when you are saying the domain name or when they're reading it, that there are these two letters. Make sure that it is descriptive as well, in order for people to be able to understand what this domain is going to be about. So this really doesn't say anything about it. And also make sure that it's adaptable to your content, that it does fit with the content of your site. So you don't want to do something like football.com if you've got nothing to do with football. And what a domain name really is this is just the name that people are going to be able to type in as this top level URL up here at the top level domain there, and the URL in order to find your website. And this is going to be translated through the name servers. So the way the internet works is that you can type in this domain name and it translates into an IP address. Just to illustrate that, if we do something like ping domain, what it does is try to ping out to this IP address, and it goes through all the different routes, bounces around in order to be able to understand what server is serving up this IP address. Now some of them will have it blocked, so I can try to ping Google. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but yeah, so with Google it does work, and we see that we ping google.com, it translates into an IP address, and this is the IP address of Google's servers that's hosting google.com, and this is the same idea that you're trying to do with your web hosting. So you find a domain name and you need to have a name server that's going to be able to translate that name into a readable IP address, and that IP address is of where the IP address of the server of where your content is hosted. When it comes to hosting, there's a lot of hosts out there, and when you are picking a host, try to look for good uptime, size, bandwidth, customer support, and the ease of use. And once you've looked at all those factors, then you can determine which host company to go with.